نحمد ونصلي على رسول الكريم أما بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم إن عدة الشهور عند الله 12 شهرا في كتاب الله يوم خلق السماوات والأرض منها 4 حرم وقال عليه الصلاة والسلام في رواية ونحن أحق بموسى منه أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. My dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I would like today to begin this Muharram by speaking about a topic that is very dear to our hearts, and it is something that we should understand before we go into any action that might deviate us from the path of Islam. It is reported in various narrations the significance of Ashuraa. Some say it is the day that Adam alayhi salam was created. Other narrations have it was the day that Adam alayhi salam was removed from heaven. Others say it is the day that Nuh alayhi salam's ark posed or docked at Mount Sinai. And there are various other narrations. Others say it is the day of the Passover, according to Christian and Jewish traditions. But the most authentic is the one that the Prophet Muhammad has narrated in a hadith, which clearly states that when he asked, why are the Jews fasting on this day? And he was told it's because it's the day that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved Musa alayhi salam from the wrath of Fir'aun and his associates. And he said, we have more right over Musa than what they claim. Because then they claim that Musa alayhi salam is their prophet. But sad to say, they do not follow his teachings as per se. Every prophet comes after some years when we find that the previous religion has been corrupted to the extent that there is very minimal left of that religion, or it's totally changed, and we find that the religion that those people practice is totally different from what that prophet came with. So that's why you find the time between Musa and Isa alayhi salam is more than 1,000 years, and between Isa alayhi salam and the Prophet Muhammad sallam is nearly 600 years. And from that time up to today is over 1,400 years. So there is likelihood of a lot of corruption coming into deen, especially when the ulama or the custodians of deen deviate from the ways, either due to lack of knowledge or because of their own opinions, and they start preferring the opinions of a religion, or sometimes because of the materialistic values that they get by following traditions and cultures that are not in the religion, but which might gain them some sort of materialistic financial gain. So we all know that the Prophet Muhammad came to know about the Ashuraa in the last year before his death. But when he fasted, after fasting and finishing the fast, he said, should I be alive the coming year, I will not only fast the 10th of Muharram, but I will add a day to it, either the 9th of Muharram or the 11th of Muharram. All these are narrations that are authentic. But we want to ask ourselves, is it just fasting? Is fasting only enough? Is it only a matter of fasting and praying? Or are there some other acts that we can also add to it? If you look very closely at Islam, any celebration is preceded by a fast. Eid al-Fitr is preceded by 29 or 30 days of fasting. Eid al-Adha on the 10th of Arafah of the Hijjah is preceded by the fast of Yawm al-Arafah for those who are not going for Hajj. Ashuraa preceded by a fast. Friday, which is the Eid of the Muslims, preceded by a fast on Thursday. The birthday of the Prophet Muhammad Sallam, Monday, fasting. So you ask yourself, why is it that Islam encourages us to fast before any festivity or any festival? If you take it from a layman's view, basically during fasts, the only thing that we forgo is usually just lunch. We have breakfast before the preceded time, and we have dinner just a little after sunset. And so it's only that we forgo the lunch. Now, basically when you have lunch, then it becomes a normal routine. But when you miss that lunch, then you excite some emotions inside you. And it makes you want to wait for that food that will come in. It makes your body alert. And you are excited. And that is how it's supposed to be before any festival. For you to be excited so that when you celebrate, you are excited. That is why you find Islam encourages fasting almost every time before any celebration. But today, some people have taken Ashuraa as the day that Hussein radiallahu anhu was slaughtered. We clearly are very sad at the demise of Hussein radiallahu anhu in the way he was slaughtered with his family. And we leave it to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to do whatever he feels is best with those who did this injustice to him. But we have to be very careful that Ashuraa was there long before Hussein was slaughtered. So Ashuraa did not come because of Hussein radiallahu anhu. In fact, Hussein was blessed to have passed away on the day of Ashuraa. But on top of that, we ask ourselves, there are some people on the day of Ashuraa, they go around celebrating. So we ask them, are you really mourning Hussein, or are you celebrating his death? When Hussein and his family was slaughtered, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not let anyone go through that severe pain. He did not have water. The opposing forces had surrounded the stream because it was a tactic to exhaust Hussein and his companions, so that when they don't have water to drink and they get exhausted, it will become easier for them to slaughter them. And the narration that brings about the slaughter of Hussein radiallahu anhu clearly states that Hussein was not overpowered by soldiers. He was very brave. He cut them left, right, and center. But the thing that overtook him was thirst. So Hussein died thirsty. You who claim that you are mourning Hussein, you go around giving milkshakes to people and cold water and cold drinks. Exactly what are you doing? Are you really mourning Hussein? Are you celebrating, na'udhu billah, his slaughter? And the Prophet has clearly advised that sunnah to fast on this day. Yet you are going around distributing drinks to force or to initiate someone to break a fast or not to fast. So exactly what are you doing? Is this Islam? I want us to take note of this, that fasting is the way that was prescribed by the Prophet Muhammad sallam, so as to remember Musa alayhi salam and his salvation from Fir'aun, and also mourning for a Muslim other than a widow is not more than 3 days. They have a narration that the Prophet Muhammad sallam wept long before Hussein was murdered or slaughtered. Yes, he wept, but not for Hussein. He wept for the ummah that will completely lose direction and kill his grandson. So he did not weep for Hussein because death was imminent. And Hussein was a martyr, a shaheed. So he did not weep for Hussein. He wept for the ummah that was misguided into killing his own grandson, their leader. And he wept on several other occasions also for the ummah. He did not mourn. He was remorseful. And that one is very genuine. Even today, we Muslims are supposed to mourn at the state that we Muslims are in. We're supposed to be remorseful. But we are not supposed to make it a day that we start mourning people who died 1400 years ago. A shaheed never dies. So Hussein is not dead. So why are we mourning him? Yes, we feel guilt at the people who slaughtered him. But you don't feel guilt at Hussein. We are remorseful for his death. We are mourning it. But not the way it is supposed to be. And then another thing is, mourning is not whereby you scratch yourself, you tear your clothes, you shout on the streets, you despise other people. That's not the way to mourn. Islam completely refused that. In fact, that was the way of the Jahiliyyah. Getting people on rent to mourn is haram. So other than fasting on Ashuraa, we are supposed to, if possible, bring out relations or narrations that relate to the story of Ashuraa, be it during the Prophet Muhammad's time or be it at the demise of Hussein radiallahu anhu, so that the Ummah understands exactly what happened to Hussein radiallahu anhu. The Ummah understands the mistakes that were made by the misguided people, so that we do not commit the same mistakes. During Ashuraa, try and make as much dhikr as possible. Read your Quran, pray your Sunnah, have akhlaq with other people. Muharram, the whole month, is from the Ashur al-Hurum. And the mushrikeen of Makkah during this time either used to stop any war that there was going on between them, or they would delay the month of Muharram by playing around with it. So whichever way, they sort of held this month very sacred. Unlike us Muslims today, we hold this month sacred but just on certain auspicious days, certain specific days. We do not take the sanctity of these days. We do not care about the sanctity of our Muslim brothers and sisters. We will go to any extent to demean anyone, which is wrong. سباب المسلم فسوق وقتاله كفر. Abusing a Muslim is causing havoc. Killing him is infidelity. So when we go around backbiting others, demeaning others, despising others, giving them bad names, blasphemizing them, then we should remember that we are not sanctifying Muharram. Sanctification or sanctity of Muharram is not just by fasting. It's by making sure that we do what the Prophet Muhammad and Allah SWT advised us to do. And we refrain from all that he refrained from or despised. With these few words, I would like to thank you all and wish you all a very successful Ashura, and when Allah SWT accept our deeds. And when you fast, try to make sure, if possible, help those who are fasting to break their fast. Be it with the little that you have. And do not make this festival or this day a day of mourning and scratching your faces and tearing your clothes. That's not the way Islam came. Islam is not a religion of festivities and festivals and mournings. Islam came to guide us onto the righteous path. The Prophet Muhammad was like a light that came after the darkness of the night. He was the sunrise, and let the sunrise be forever with us. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك نشهد أن لا إله إلا أنت نستغفرك إليك ونستغفرك ونتوب إليك وإلى اللقاء والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.